What's up, guys? SeeNinetyThree here. Today we're going to be talking about Marksman Rifles. Down, got her in the... So yeah, these are my favorite kind of gun. I love any gun that's just like a single shot. I feel like it's more rewarding and more interesting to play the game with, but some of them you just can't use. So I got my tier list up right here. We're going to go through, I'm going to talk a little bit about every gun and put it where I think it should be. So we're going to start with the crossbow. Crossbow, I think we can all agree, goes right down here. Oh no, baby, what is you doing? Crossbow is garbage in Warzone. Yes, you can one hit someone down and then blow them up with the explosion rounds, but takes you like 30 seconds to reload that thing. So if you miss that shot, you're kind of screwed. And it's got awful accuracy at range. It's got awful range. It's got incredible drop. It's the worst gun I think I've ever used. I got gold and platinum for it, and it is awful. I hate it. It's fun, but it's not nearly good enough to be used in Warzone at a serious level. Even as like a sidearm, if you're running the Kilo or an AMAX and you have the crossbow on the side, still not worth it. Because you're gonna switch, you're gonna shoot, miss that shot, and then it's gonna be 30 seconds of reloading for you to get that clip, or you're just gonna switch and use the Kilo anyways. Stay away from it. Not worth it. Next up, we're gonna go to the EBR. Now the EBR, I think would be under shouldn't use. And I say shouldn't use because if you're very accurate and good at the flick shots and can click the heads, it's a good gun because it does like 170 damage on the headshot, and it's fast. It's got some kick, it got some visual kick, but if you can click the headshot and then just follow it up with something else, like it does a huge amount of damage. It's got incredible range, and you can shoot. It doesn't have a lot of bullet drop. I've used it in Plunder, messing around in downtown, and you can shoot from 400 meters away, and that thing's pretty accurate, pretty straight. It's got decent travel time. It's just, if you get close up and you gotta rail that trigger and just keep smacking it, the gun kicks all over the place. So now, if you're getting shot at too with the Marksman Rifle flinch, like it's so hard to keep control of, and you're not gonna win a lot of gunfights, but it's really easy to go pop, pop on the head because of how fast it shoots, and it does kind of recenter itself. So if you have the accuracy, it's not a bad gun to use. Next up, we're gonna go to the Kar98K, easily S tier. It is one shot headshot down. It's got the fastest ADS time for one shot down marksman rifles. I say that because the MK2 is the fastest ADS time, I think, in the game, along with almost the highest movement speed without actually going for a full movement speed build, or at least close. But the Kar98, it's got that incredible quick scope action. You can down people easily. The only downside to the Kar98K, I think, is the single round reload. It takes a long time to reload the rounds, even though you can reload one bullet and shoot, one bullet, shoot. So you can always, never really run out. But the worst part of the Kar98K is the ugly ass reticle on the sniper scope. That arrow is awful. If you have to shoot somebody at range where you got to go above them and arc the target a little bit, you lose the target in the arrow. It's awful. If you're using it, use the second, like the very second scope is good too. The small little crosshairs or pretty much anything else, or even the blue dot. The blue dot's not bad on that either, but the reticle is ugly. However, everything else on the gun is good. You move quick with it. You could pull it up super fast. Neo Rooch is a monster with this thing. He just runs that. Watched him get 26 kills the other day running this in a butterfly knife. It's a good gun, and you can use it even at close range because of how quick the ADS is. You can just quick scope people over and over again, and just quick scope. Even if you hit them in the body, you're gonna break armor, and then you just move and you shoot again. So very, very good marksman rifle. Basically a sniper with the one-shot headshot kills. Super fast. The only downside is the reload and the reticle, but you can change that. Next up, I'm gonna go MK2. Now the MK2, I am going to put viable. I'm putting it viable.
Let me get lit up. Come on.
I say viable because it's got a pretty good fire rate. It does have recoil, but it recenters exactly where you shot. So you can just shoot, not move your trigger at all, and it's going to come right back down to where it is. So if somebody's, sitting on a building or whatever, you can very, very easily go pop, pop, and they're dead. and people don't react to it in time. It's not the fastest kill time, obviously, because it's a 2-shot kill, but you can use it. It's incredibly fast ADS. You move incredibly fast when you're aiming down the sights on that thing. You can pop the shot off and then switch to a gun quick and just light them up. I used to run MK2 Uzi, and it shredded because all you do is pop the first shot with the MK, switch over, finish them off with the Uzi. Downside to it is the in-between shots, that little cock. That does take a little bit of time. That's unfortunate. And the reload is a single shot reload, same as the car. You can do a sleight of hand to make it a little faster, but it's not worth it to lose one of the other attachments. So you do have to shoot, reload, or make sure you're not running completely out of ammo, because it does take a long time to reload. It is very fun to use. It might be not viable, but fun. That's another category. That might be it. But I think it's viable. I think especially if you're running in like trios or quads, where you can run it as like a support rifle, where when those games start off, you throw a blue dot on it and you do like that kind of close range where teams start fighting and then you pop up and you just hit a headshot, teammate finishes them off. Headshot, teammate finishes them off. Because it does so much damage. And if you run it without a glint, people don't expect to get cracked in the head and lose all their armor in one shot. So people will have full plates, peek a corner, don't see a glint, and then boom, they're cracked and they're like, oh shit. And now they got to react to the rest of your team coming around and pushing them and stuff like that. So it works better in teams than it does solo, but it is viable to me. Next up, we're going to go SKS. SKS, I think, is not viable, but it's fun. It's got a lot of visual kick. Even though the recoil isn't really bad on it and you can rip the trigger on it, the gun bounces back and forth on you, and it's kind of hard. You can't really like track people with it because it's kicking around. You lose them in the kick and stuff. But realistically, the shots are all going to be at the same spot. But visually, you see that gun butt kicking back at your face all the time, and it just becomes kind of in the way. But I will admit that when you land, if you get a gun like the Traveler, you can smoke people because that thing claps. If you just pop around a corner and just go and just start like unloading, all you need is one headshot, and that's gonna either scare them enough to run away, or your next shots are gonna kill. Because as long as you hit a headshot, body shot, they're dead. But it's just got so much visual recoil. It's kind of bounces all over the place. Even if you try to build it to be not super recoily, it still bounces around a lot. If you're trying to track somebody, it's hard. If you're going for the long range shots, it's also hard. You can't really double tap it the way you can with the other guns. So it's not viable, but it is fun to get the kill with because people are like, what the hell was that thing? Because you just come around the corner, it sounds like a mini shotgun and you're just unloading.
Oh my God.
But overall, I'm saying not viable. Now we're moving on to, let's see, this is the SPR S tier, easy. I think it's one of the best snipers in the game.
Oh my God, bro.
Got him. The downside is you have to run Norma mags. If you didn't have to run Norma mags and you had the opportunity to run another attachment, it'd be a lot better than it is. I think more people would use it. But because you need the Norma mags, I always say that, the Norma mags for that like longer range shot, it takes away from the ability to run a new bolt on it to give you faster fire rate. It takes away the ability to run a tack laser for a little snappier ADS speed. And you have to run a scope on it too, because it's Marksman Rifle, so it doesn't come with a scope. I know the car, you have to run a scope on it as well, but you don't need to run the ammunition. So you're only losing one slot instead of two. The gun shoots incredibly fast, incredibly accurate, and very straight. It's an awesome gun. The ADS time isn't as good as the Car 98K is, but it is still good enough to pop corners and shoot people. And you still move relatively quick when you're aiming down the sights, like as opposed to the HDR where you crawl when you're aiming down the sights. And granted, you should never hard peek a corner like that. You should always jump and swing out and then try to line up your shot. We don't all do that. Even I don't do that. I know I should, and sometimes I still slow peek corners. So it's nice to have a little bit of an additional speed with this thing. Overall, I think it's one of the best snipers in the game. I think the HDR is, right there too. HDR is 500 meters. You barely got to aim above their head. It just drops people. This gun's a little bit closer range, but it's fast and maneuverable and really good gun overall. And like I said, downside, you have to run a ammunition attachment and you have to run a sniper scope, which isn't normally bad, but because you have to run the ammunition too, now you're losing the two attachments. That's what makes it so hurtful. All right, so there's my list. And it's a very quick video. I just wanted to run through them a little bit. Car 98K, SPR, King of the Marksman Rifle, MK2. Viable, very fun. It is probably more fun than viable, but it still can hang with the best of them, especially like I said, if you're running in trios or quads. It's a really good support rifle. SKS, not viable, but really fun to get the kill with because people don't expect you to have an SKS. EBR, shouldn't use unless you are very confident with your aim. If you can crack people in the head, you can easily follow up with something else. It's very easy. Aside from the kick and the bounce of the actual gun, and the 10 round mag, that hurts too. Granted, the reload isn't bad on it. I might even put the EBR with not viable but fun. Yeah, I'm gonna move that up. I think the EBR is not viable, but it is a fun gun to use, especially with the range it has, and it's very quiet. It's like tink. And of course, at the very bottom, oh no baby, what is you doing? Is the crossbow. Don't use that thing. Take it out of the game. We don't need it. All it did was make it harder for me to get platinum. That's all it did. But anyways, guys, I just wanted to run over some of the Marksman Rifles. I am looking to get some SKS and EBR footage and put together a video showing that it's not viable, but it's a little fun to use. So like the video if you like the video, subscribe if you want to see some more Marksman Rifle videos. And until then, guys, SeeNinetyThree out.